Hello, welcome to Anime Mystics. I'm Roman, and tonight I am watching the Junji Ito Collection, Episode 7. I had to actually look and see what episode this was. So I apologize for, I guess, 2 weeks ago. I had thought I uploaded episode 5 for this, but apparently I didn't. I remembered recording it, but I guess I didn't upload it. I didn't realize that until I started uploading episode 6 and was looking through the episodes and noticed that 5 was not there. So I apologize about that. I did the same thing with Hakume to Mikochi. I did the same thing with that and didn't upload episode 4. But anyway, last episode we only had 2 sections. The first, I think we always have just 2 sections, so I don't know what I'm talking about. The first half was pretty short. It wasn't even a half. It was more of a quarter of the episode. This family moves into this new place, and the house next door, rather creepy looking. It's got no windows except for one, which is facing the son's window. They're trying to introduce themselves to the neighbors. They go to that house first and ring the bell and knock, and nobody answers. They go to the next place and they tell them that somebody does live there because you can see them standing in the window at night, but never during the day. So that night when the son is asleep, he hears the neighbor calling it for him, just saying, young man, and saying that she wants him to come over, she'll leave the door unlocked. And she is creepy looking. She's got the window open. He opens his window to see who's calling him. He knows it's the neighbor, but he's trying to see what she looks like. And she's basically got almost like a bowl cut, but grayish skin. I can't exactly say they're not pimples, but she's got like these bumps all over her face and her hands, and she's got a pretty big head too. She's really creepy. Let me see, I got her as the thumbnail for that episode. Let me actually just take a look at this so I can describe it more accurately. Let's see this. Alright. Yeah. Like a red, I don't know, was that like a bob haircut? I think is what it's called. Gray skin. Not like sharp teeth, but kind of jaggedy looking. Bumps all over her face. Her hands, her nails are pretty long and sharp looking. Yellow eyes. It's just, no. I would move the next day if I lived next door to her. But, yeah. The next morning, he walks past the house. Doesn't even knock on the door, which I wouldn't either, so I'm not saying, he's being rude or nothing like that. I would not go near that house at all. Unfortunately, I think he has to walk past it to get to school. But the next night, she's calling for him again, saying that he didn't come over. She was waiting for him with like some sweets and stuff like that, and that she was going to come over, and started trying to reach over with I think it was a laundry pole, which he knocks out of her hands, and then runs to his parents' room and starts telling them the neighbor's trying to get into my room. And they go over there, go to his room and look out the window, and she's not out the window anymore. The laundry pole is gone. So they basically think he had like a nightmare, which he didn't. He's living a nightmare. The next night, she's trying to reach his window with her hands, but can't quite reach it. And he's just standing like next to his bed, like ready to fight if she comes in. And it ends showing that the window that she uses has stretched so that she can reach his window the next night. Yeah. How nobody notices that is beyond me. Like, how the family doesn't see that. I don't know. But that's where it ended. It didn't. They never finished these stories. They like show the window, like, I don't know, like it'd be about where I'm sitting to the monitor of the computer. Like that distance now, where she can just reach over with her hands, open the window, and get in. And then it just ends. The next half, or 3/4 of the episode, was actually more sad than some of these little stories, except for the one with the guy that was trying to cure his long dreams. That was sad, although I think this one was a little, like, edges it out a bit. Basically, it's about this woman who moves in, well, doesn't move in, but marries this guy, her fiance, for I think it was a few years. But she gets married to him, and the family treats her kind of coldly. Like, they don't talk to her really. They just kind of ignore her. They don't do anything nice for her. He's doing everything he can to kind of make it better, introduce her to family that's in the house, like his great-great-grandparents. And his great-grandparents, I should say. She meets the great-great-grandmother later on and sees that she's kind of see-through, so she assumes it's a ghost, which I think anybody would assume. If there is some person in a room that's see-through, you're going to think ghost or hologram, but I don't think this guy has that kind of equipment in that house. And he explains that it's not a ghost, that basically after family members pass away, the rest of the family will get together after the funeral and basically create an after image of that family member through prayer. And what it does for them is it allows them to grieve and, say their goodbyes over the period of time that they're around, which he says is around 20 years that the after image will stay. So that by the time the after image disappears, they've already said their goodbyes and everything is fine. They're not mourning anymore or sad. But yeah, she learns about this and actually witnesses it after the grandfather passes away. They do the same thing for him. And so she asks her husband, because her biggest fear is that her father will pass away, which is going to happen. There's no getting around that. It's going to happen. Unless he's immortal, but I don't think that's the case. So she asks her husband if he can ask the family if when her father passes away they could make an after image of him. Of course they disagree. They say no, there's no point in doing that. So she comes into the room and starts apologizing, saying it was selfish of her to ask, although in my opinion it was selfish of them to deny it, at least at the time. That's what I would say. I'll get to that later. I think she said that they were married for 8 years. It skips 8 years ahead, and more family members pass away and they make more after images, and she helps with it by praying and trying to prove that she's a good wife and try to get the parents to not be so cold to her. And one day she's leaving the house to give her husband his lunch because he's off to work. And she sees him talking to this other woman that he's seeing. They work together, so it, easy for him to meet up with her. She confronts him about it at the house, and he doesn't deny it. He says, "Yeah, I am involved with her." And she's getting angry. Of course, I think anybody would get angry over this. And he tells her, "Don't worry, I'm going to keep my obligation to you. But I do plan on eventually marrying this girl." And she's wondering, how do you plan on keeping your obligation to me and then plan on marrying her? And that's when you find out that she's an afterimage. That 10 years ago, she had died in an accident, an auto accident. She was crossing the street and the car or a truck just hit her, and she died instantly, basically. And he pleaded with his parents to bring her back with an afterimage, which they did. Which explains why they're so cold to her. Basically, because he married her, he has to be with her for 20 years at least before he can meet anybody else, even though that part didn't, happen, but marry someone else. So she's basically keeping him from living his life because he's got to be with her. After she finds this out, she leaves the family and goes back home with her dad. Where you notice at the end that she's starting to fade a bit because you can see through her. And that's where it ends. It's a good episode. Sad. I'm sure some people saw it coming. I didn't see it coming. I didn't expect her to be an afterimage when I watched it. But yeah, I don't know what stories they're going to tell this time. I really don't know a lot of Junji Ito's work, so they're all kind of a surprise for me. So let's get into this. Hopefully they're not too scary. It's pretty late, and I don't want to be up because I can't sleep due to getting scared from this. That'd be kind of bad, especially since I got to work tomorrow. Anyway, the video is going to be located over here, and the link to the reaction is going to be in the description down below. And we're going to start this episode in 3, 2, 1.